Here. How you doing? I'm here with my daughter today. Brooke, say hi, Brooke.
Hi, Brooke.
Very good. Come over here, stand in the front in the shot here. What we're going to talk about today, and Brooke's going to help me a little bit here, is, well, just a little bit about record players, because there's something I want to show you at the end of the video here. So I'm using one of my own songs here because I don't want to infringe on anyone's copyright. Now, some of you may not realize how these things actually work, and it's actually quite remarkable how these things are made and how they work. I'm not going to go into too much detail. I just want to show this because a lot of younger people have never really seen one of these things, and if they have, it's usually been doing one of those things. So, let's just take this off for a second. You can put that down if you want. Okay, so you'll have to excuse Brooke. She just got over the swine flu. I don't know if you've ever heard of that before, but it's this flu that's sort of going around a little bit, and she's just getting over it, so she's got a bit of a cough. And I don't know, where did I put my mask? Anyways, just cross my fingers. So, record players. Well, basically, a record is made of vinyl, and on the record is a groove, and it's a continuous groove starting on the edge of the record. Can you fire that thing up? Okay, so Brooke's petrified of being on this video, by the way, so she's just doing her best. Right now, the groove starts at the outer edge of the record, and it slowly spirals its way in to the center of the record. So you'll notice when we're playing the record, I'll just turn the volume down a little bit here. The needle will start at the beginning, and you guys know all this stuff. And at the end of the song, it'll end up over here. Okay, so it's a continuous spiral. You know, but it's not just a smooth groove going around. What actually makes the sound on a record is that the groove has little squiggles in it. Okay, now here's how, basically, in a nutshell, how records are made, and I'll put a link in the sidebar or down in the bottom there, wherever it is, to a video called How It's Made, and it shows you how they make these vinyl records. It's actually really interesting. Okay, so what they do is they take an aluminum plate, and they cover it with like a lacquer, a soft kind of a lacquer. All right, they cover it. You saw this. You know how it works. They cover it with like a vinyl thing, right? Yeah. And what do? They put that on a cutting lathe, and then they put that on a cutting lathe like this, and they put this big cutting thing. It's called a lathe. They put this big cutter on it. Now the cutter has a needle or a stylus similar to the one that actually plays back the records, but it's a lot heavier, and it's actually going to carve the groove into the record. Now, hooked up to this machine is an audio device that actually sends the music into the lathe that actually cuts the grooves. And what that's going to do is it's going to, as the needle is cutting the grooves, the musical signal is going to vibrate the stylus, the cutter, and that's going to cause the grooves to have these little vibrations in them, similar to when you see like a sound wave, okay, on a computer screen or whatever, right? So now we have a record with a groove cut in it and a continuous groove with these little squiggles that represent the music that was recorded. Then they take that off and they stamp it into something else, they coat it with silver, they do all these neat things until they end up with a final stamper, it's called, and the stamper actually stamps out the records, just like a newspaper. All right, and that's how they work. And you can hear it if I turn on the record player. Can you? Thanks. And I've got the volume turned all the way down. If you could just get a real close-up of this, it'd be great. And I'll put the needle on the record, and you can, whoops, you can hear the sound of the needle vibrating against the grooves. right? So inside this little arm here, yeah, it's okay. You can go ahead and keep filming if you want.
Oh.
Of course, you've got your stylus. Now, this is a cheap record player. I'm just doing this for a joke. I have an actual turntable somewhere stored. But, you know, this here is the stylus here. This one's made of probably metal of some sort, so it's really cheap. And as you can see, when you touch it, you can hear it makes a sound through the speaker. Of course, this has an amplifier in it and a loudspeaker, so it... The needle, when it vibrates, inside this particular cartridge, there's a crystal. The crystal is sensitive to vibrations, and when it vibrates, it creates electrical signals. So when the needle vibrates in the grooves of the record, it vibrates the crystal, and the crystal creates electrical signals that correspond to the vibrations in the grooves of the record, which correspond to the original music that was recorded. Okay, that's sent down the arm, the tone arm, into an amplifier, and then out the speaker. Now, in an actual good quality turntable, there's actually a magnetic device inside here, inside the cartridge. And what it is, it's an electromagnet. So when the needle vibrates, it vibrates a shaft, and around that shaft are a set of coils. And the shaft would be a magnet, and the coils would be strapped around them. So when it vibrates, the magnet vibrates in the field of the coils and actually creates electrical signals, something like a microphone. All right? You have to know a little bit about electromagnetism to get exactly what I'm talking about there, but that's how that works. And there's moving magnet cartridges, and there's moving coil cartridges where the coil actually moves and the magnet stays still. Those are better quality because the coils are actually lighter and easier to move and vibrate than the magnets are. So that's turntables. I mean, that's the basic thing with turntables. And some people think that records sound better than CDs. You know, in some cases I might agree, because compact discs are only recorded with 16-bit audio, which means there's only a certain amount of resolution you can get with that. When you take a an analog recording and you sample it, you know, you've ever taught you about digital sampling? I think I taught her of sampling when she was about 10 years old. She's probably forgotten it all. When you sample a sound, it cuts it up into little segments, and it gives each segment a number depending on its amplitude. Then those numbers are stored on the compact disc as binary, digital binary. Okay, little pits and dots on the disc. But because the music had to be chopped up and processed like that, theoretically there is some degradation. Now, records, of course, are prone to wear and prone to dirt and things inside the grooves, which cause the cracks when you listen to a record, and scratches and so forth. But in reality, a good quality record and a good quality turntable can sound better than a compact disc. The old school thought that records sound better than CDs. There is some truth to that. Now, this is a small, old, portable record player from the 70s, but it's not the smallest record player in the world. Remember that thing I showed you earlier?
No.
Grab the camera.
Okay.
This is a bit of a surprise.
Oh.
This is out of an old, what's called a see-and-say. You know those big round things? You pull the arm down and it says something like... Well, that's what this is, except I've cut this out of one of those. I took all the surroundings off, and we're just left with the mechanical part of it. The interesting thing about this is that inside here, if we could just, somehow we can get this, inside here is a little record player. This white disc here is the record. You can hear if I scratch it, there's grooves on it. Okay, that's the record. This little white arm here, that's where the stylus is. That's the needle. Around here we have a spring, right there. And over here we have what's called a governor. That just regulates the speed of it. So when you pull the string, it doesn't go shoot right in like a tape measure. Okay. Now this one actually, particular one is broken. The governor actually has a missing. There's a part of it's missing. So that's why this wobbles when I operate it. But see so what happens? If I pull the string. You got the stylus right there? Can you see that? Where my finger is? Right there?
Yeah.
Okay. When I pull the string, just make sure you can see the stylus. It pulls the stylus back, right? When I let go of the string, it's going to put the stylus down on the record's going to turn, and it's going to play the record. Okay? Now, this particular one plays a different thing every time plays a different little tune or a speech every time I pull the string. And I'll tell you how that works in a minute. But that's how these things used to work, and it's quite amazing. If you buy one of these, if you have an old one of these lying around, when you pull the string, you hear not only do you hear the voices, but you hear the crackles in the background. Well, that's why, because it's a little tiny, just want to show it one more time, just a little tiny record player in there. And it's kind of cool. So I would say this is the smallest record player you're ever going to find. The reason why you get, I think it's 12 different sayings on this thing, is because normally one record has one groove that starts at the edge and goes spirals around into the middle. This record actually has 12 grooves. Each of them starts at the edge, but each of them starts at a different point on the edge. Okay? Like that. So depending on where you turn this arrow actually turns the record. And then when you point the arrow a certain direction, you pull the string, it drops the needle down on that part of the record, and it's going to play that groove. If you turn this somewhere else, it's going to put it down on another part of the record and play that groove. And there's 12 different grooves, therefore there's 12 different little sayings. Okay? I just thought it would be neat to show people how this works. She's thoroughly fascinated with this, I can just tell. So, what should we call you? Brooktube?
Sure.
Brooktube. Okay, that's Brooktube. Well, I think that's about it for now. Thanks for helping me. I'm going to get the sanitizer in a minute. But I got to get my stuff back on here. And grab the camera, Brooke, for our final shot. Here we go. Thanks, guys, for watching. Take care. See you next time. Right? Like that? Why does it have to be? Oh, I see how.
No, wait. No, that goes down more. It's gotta be like tilted.
Too much of the front of my head now. Like I look bald.
Oh, just doesn't. They're not gonna be sitting there like picking at the angle that your head.
It's gotta look right though.
That's fine. That's good.
All right,
yeah.
it's gotta look authentic. Okay.